Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba because thought he's all a magic man. Back in those days, that is how Swami was perceived. But I was also particular about one thing. It should be my life, my words, my action, which will transform her or understand who Swami is. But she's not believing in Swami yet. It took at least 15 years for her to get that signal from Swami.
Sairam, dear listeners, welcome to Sai SOUL 100. Our guest today is Brother Gopa, who is joining us from Richmond, Virginia. Sairam, Brother Gopa, welcome to Sai SOUL 100.
Sairam, Sister Prabha, thank you for having me. And more importantly, thank you for doing this wonderful service of collecting all the stories, his stories, so that this becomes his story of the future. And this is a wonderful work you are doing, wonderful seva you're doing for the next generation, and really appreciate you all taking time and doing this. And so happy to be here.
Thank you, Brother Gopa. Sairam, welcome. Please share your story.
First of all, my humble pranams at the lotus feet of my beloved master, my Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. The story which I want to share today is more around how he gave a non-devotee as my wife and how we both transformed through his love and his teachings, more importantly, his teachings. And I want to take back to my background first, and then I'll share how she came to my life and then what happened after that. My background, I got introduced to Swami through the Bal Vikas program. My parents were not devotees. My father was dead against Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba because he thought he's all a magic man. Back in those days, that is how Swami was perceived in my state of Kerala, which had a lot of communist and atheist presence. So Swami was mostly considered as a magician, or even in that extent. Not many people considered him as God. But some of my influential relatives of my dad, they were devoted to Swami. My wife, my mother's side also, her uncle and others were also devoted to Swami. And these are happening in the 80s. And initially, once some of our cousins came to my home and they asked, hey, why don't you send me and my younger brother to the Bal Vikas? And my dad said, no way, I'm sending my children to this magician. And then after a few years, the center decided to start a Bal Vikas in my home temple. And now my dad got a call from some of his influential relatives, and he had to oblige. And there you go. We both went to Bal Vikas. The first trip to Puttaparthi was as a Bal Vikas student. And we had the good fortune of learning Vedam, chanting Vedam in front of Swami for Onam celebrations. That was my first trip in how I saw Swami. I think I was in my 10th grade or something. That's the first time when I saw him. And that time, this then state president, Sri T. N. Natarajan, he told us on the backstage, this is your lifetime chance. As a young boy, I just took it for granted. Doesn't any make sense to me to say that this is a lifetime chance. But now when I look it back, it was a lifetime chance to do Vedam before his discourse. Fast forward, I continued to go for Onam celebrations every year, even though my dad was very, very, very pessimistic about giving money for the train ticket. But somehow we managed, and I used to go. And I got attracted with the service activities of the center. I got admission to the engineering college. And that story, I know that it is he who gave me the engineering admission. And fast forward, I became very active in the organization. As a young adult, I had the responsibility of the state youth coordinator for the state of Kerala. And here comes marriage plans. And up until then, I used to have a way of always getting some guidance from Swami, because we used to go for this Prashanti Seva, and while we sit for Padanamskar, he would come, and that's the time you could ask anything. And he guided me through my education, what we should do next, all those things. And now comes the marriage, and all I get is a wait. He just say, wait, wait, wait. I'm crossing my 30s, and my relatives started asking, hey, you are going to Sai Baba. Why you are not getting married? Why is he not helping you with that? And then I'm 33, and this time we also gave, in those days there was nothing like dating or anything. We just give advertisement newspaper, and if the bridegroom they find some match, they call, and that's how it happens. And I also put my thing in the newspaper. I think my wife's family also put in the newspaper. I think they called us seeing my thing. And when I was doing Prashanti Seva, and I got a call from my parents saying, hey, there's a proposal like this. Two of her brothers are in the US. She did an MCA. Would you want to continue? I'm like, America, I'm not going. That's not I want to be in Kerala. I want to do Sai Seva. And I said, oh, she is MCA, software engineer. No, I don't like software. That ended. Few more days later, again, my parents called. No, looks like they did the horoscope matching. Looks like there's a match. How about you go and see them? I said, okay, fine. If the horoscope matching, that's a big thing to cross. And obviously, I said, let's go. And lo and behold, I go see her. And there are other reasons how Swami intervened and why this marriage happened, and I got married. And I was like very active in the organization. I'm more than my career. It was mostly Sai activities which I was doing. And she comes home, and to their surprise, her marriage was. I mean, she has never heard about Swami. All she heard was all negative things about Swami through some media in those days. And in the marriage function, she sees this whole big picture of Sai Baba. People are taking Arati and all those things. They were all surprised, taken a little back. And if they knew that this was happening before, she was telling they would have called off the marriage before this. But anyways, they couldn't do anything that day. So the marriage happened. She comes home that day to my home, and she meets and on the TV, and she made a statement recently on the TV. What she thought she would now watch some good Bollywood music or things. Instead, she's hearing bhajans, and people are coming and they are all talking about Swami, and she's like in an alien world altogether. And this is what she shared with me very recently, that some of the trauma, in other words, she went through, and her expectation is that, oh, now we'll go out, we'll go to movies, we will watch all those kind of things. Instead of which, on a Sunday evening, I take her to the Sai Center for bhajans. And that was also a little shocking for her. And she thought after the Sai Center, maybe we should go in a hotel and do some dinner. And that also did not happen. I never eat outside. I just came back home and had the dinner at home. And all these things started so much of pressure to her. Like, this is not the life she's expecting. But the bhajans attracted her. That was a plus. And as we embarked on this journey, fast forward, we came to US. And what was the first thing I found? I was in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I found the Sai Center there. And I started going for the Saturday bhajans. And she reluctantly, she said she had to come for the bhajans. That was because she liked it, but she never wanted me to go for any other activities. And that created a lot of tough times. A girl expecting a lot differently, and I behaving completely contradictory. That really created a lot of problems. And imagine you are in another country with no such support, and now all these things is going through her. But I never, ever forced her that you should believe in Swami, or you should do this or do that. My thing was, if you like it, you come, but I have to go. This is something my calling is. You should understand. Sometimes it didn't go well. There were many situations it didn't go well, but many of the times, at least for the bhajans, we had an agreement. We both used to go. But I was also particular about one thing. It should be my life, my words, my action, which will transform her, or understand who Swami is. It should not be through anything else. They and their families should understand who Swami is through my actions, my words. I think that was also a little bit challenging for me because now you have a bigger responsibility. Now you cannot be like any ordinary people who can behave in the traditional way because you have set the bar high. That was a little challenging, but I know that it was for a good reason because that is how it transformed me. And then I moved to Richmond, and after 1 or 2 years, I took the I was became the president of the Richmond Center, and now started the most challenging times. And now more than bhajans, I had to be out. Those days there are no Zooms; it was all in person. And now we had real problems at home. And I'm very open with this because a lot of people go through these kind of situations. But still, I think my thing was, am I going to do the right thing? How am I going to behave? How am I going to put up in this kind of situations? And there are a lot of times I failed too. There are a lot of times I also did not do the same way she need to be treated, in the sense she need to be understood. I thought it is Sai activity, it is holy activity, and it is best activity. And my rationale was, I'm not going to the bar. I'm not going to be any friend's place. I'm not wasting my time in any of those activities. I'm going for holy activities, spiritual activities, and you should understand that. But that's not her mindset. I think what they need was different, and that's where this understanding, when Swami very clearly says marriage is not about adjustment, it is about understanding, I realized that was very powerful. I cannot just say, oh, you do this, I go for this, you take care of children. When you do this, I go take care of children. That is adjustment. No, the understanding was so important. And when we had those conversations with understanding, slowly those problems faded away. Outward, we look very good. We look like a Sai family. We are all together. We are going for Sai Center. And then, of course, we have our children and they are in the SSC, and all those things looks great. But she's not believing in Swami yet. It took at least 15 years for her to get that signal from Swami. But what happened, what I forgot to tell is that then 2 days after marriage, she got a Padanamskar from Swami. And she didn't tell in the first 2-3 days. And after that, she came and told me that this is what happened. And she thought it was a big deal. Yeah, I saw this man you saw in the TV with the bhajans. He came to me and gave me Padanamskar. I was like, that's wonderful. That's so good. And one more thing happened there. After that, we went to Kodaikanal. She thought it's going to be a honeymoon trip. But it was Swami was there. We went to see Swami there. And that also backfired. In other words, you are going to a place after marriage, maybe a few days, in a week's time, and you are going to see Swami. Now, fast forward now, 15 years later, even though she had all these experiences, she was also very rational. I think she was challenging, and she was challenging Swami to prove that you are God. I think one time one of our children got sick or something, and that is when she prayed very hard and she got the response immediately. And now she's like, now this person started responding to me. Now she slowly started her belief, and now she's coming to this ground. And what happens again, the next and the most important thing is her beliefs, she says, is on and off. She goes somewhere, again, she follows somebody else. And then after a few months, and when I see, and this is another painful thing for me, and I might be wrong too. When I see she follows some other spiritual masters, and then she goes into that way, she hears the discourse and other things, and that became a conversation. I'm like, Swami has said everything. Why do you want to go? And she's like, no, I like that. I like this. So I had to be very delicate in those, because I cannot interfere too much. But it was so surprising to see that slowly those things faded away. And now it becomes more about Samarpan talks. Now it becomes more about Swami's discourses. Now it becomes more about this. And that transformation, I mean, if I had taken a stance very strongly and said that, oh, you should not do this, you should not only follow Swami, it wouldn't have flown, it wouldn't have the impact. But I was very particular again to pull back and let her experience. And it was not that other spiritual masters. I also hear other spiritual. It is okay to other spiritual masters, but if you have to get something somewhere deep, you have to go deep in one place. You cannot go and dig in the multiple places. And that was the thing I shared with her. And then she was like, I don't get the connection. Be patient. You will get it. And after a few years, here comes more and more. And then what happened is every year we used to make a trip to Puttaparthi. And I want to be there 4 or 5 days. And she's like, just one day. And children are like, maybe two. Children also, she says 2 days, children will say one day. Because it is hard, all those kind of things. Last couple of years or many years, they said this is the best time in India, going to Puttaparthi and staying there. And it was so interesting to see how she doesn't want to be in the crowd, but she just wants to go to Puttaparthi and sit there and enjoy the Vedam chanting and enjoy the bhajans and how much time it takes. She just wants to be there. When looking back, I see this. No, the transformation I had was to be patient and not to enforce. And when we say the word not by force but by source, it was very difficult for me, to be very honest. But I realized that only source matters. Whenever I forced, it just broke. But whenever I let it go, it happened and it manifested. So that power of me letting go of my ego was my transformation. No, it's not me. If he wants to do it, let him do it. And then then she started saying, I used to come and say, such and such place, there is Vibhuti, these things happen. He used to do a lot of, and then she also had a small idea that she should see Vibhuti. And she had a small picture in the kitchen, and that's where she said, I always go and talk to him there. Now, in between, there were many other episodes wherein she got that feeling, that connection, that Swami is there with her. And what was my thing? I think my transformation was, as I said earlier, reinforcing that fact that his teachings are very powerful. He has his own time, and I have to be patient and never ever force somebody into something, and let the time take over. And she wanted to see how Swami would manifest Vibhuti. Now, if there is any Vibhuti in our home, she might suspect that she might have the small doubt that I might have put it. Right. So again, I will not do it, but at the same time, why create that kind of a confusion? We go to India last summer, and then we have a bank locker, and nobody else has the key. And inside the locker, we open it, we look at everything, make sure everything is good, and we keep it back. And then there was one box, and the last box, which had a Swami picture, she put it. She wanted Swami to protect her gold, but not anything else. But she put that picture. And this one, when she opens up, she sees Vibhuti in Swami's picture there. The reason their speciality or importance there is, anywhere else there would have been a suspicion. And locker, nobody else has the key. Only Swami can go there. No one else can go into that place to put Vibhuti there. What more convincing do you need to show that he is powerful? He can be omnipresent. He can manifest anywhere. And all you need is to wish. I think that was much more powerful, to see that in a locker, he can come and prove that he is with us. I think that is how Sai is, And that is where the power of his manifestation and his omnipresence, he shows not for nothing else, but for our transformation. And I think now she would say, oh, you want to do Sai activities? Go, let's do it. Or she would say, oh, maybe even retirement, we should do this. This is it. So my message here, or my understanding is, it's not in our time. We have to be patient. I know there are a lot of families where one partner is a devotee and other is not a devotee, and a lot of people struggle with this. But what I experience is, if I have to be, it's more challenging for me to practice his teachings, to behave well, and then let him do whenever his time permits. Sairam.
Sairam, Brother Gopa, thank you for sharing this very personal story. It's a story, like you mentioned, hits home very closely for many, many devotees. And it's comforting to know, if you're in that situation, if you're in that situation, to recognize that it's in his timing, right? To be patient. But I love the fact that what you said was, the person who is not believing in Swami at that point is seeing Swami through your behavior, the way you conduct yourself. So you have to be the exemplary devotee that Swami wants you to be and live his teachings. And you said you couldn't mess up at that point. You really had to live his message. And that's also a growth for you, right? And we think we are watching her transformation happening, but along the way, your transformation is just as equally powerful. And together now, Swami has brought you into a place where you both can serve together. And that's only because of his grace. And he chose that this is the right time. So yeah, he's very clearly present in your life, in your family's life. And it's just so, it feels good to know that. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I also like the fact that, to be patient, he has his own time, right? We just need to be patient and recognize that he has his own time.
Yeah, I think, as you rightly said, it is more than her transformation. It was very challenging for me. It's not about being a devotee. It was about practicing teachings in real life. When something goes wrong, not to get angry. So a lot of things that was more challenging than going for a bhajan. I mean, you can go for a bhajan or those kind of, but practicing his thing at these kind of situations, and very, very provoking situations, I think that was my growth. And don't say that I overcome it, but still, I think there is a lot of progress I know I have made in that space.
Thank you. Gratitude to you, Brother Gopa, and of course your wife as well. Thank you for being here at Sai SOUL 100.
Sairam, thank you, Sister Prabha. Again, as I said in the beginning, thank you for doing this. This is treasure, which you are helping us spread his message and his glory. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you. Sairam, dear listeners, thank you for listening to Sai SOUL 100 with Brother Gopa Nair. I'm Prabha Swaminathan. Until next time, Jai Sairam.